What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Now, you guys know every week we like to get an idea of what the whales are doing, what the institutions are doing, because we all know that they're lizard people and they control these markets. So at the end of the day, we might as well just watch and see what they do. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at, of course, the April 8th digital asset fund flows, just getting a quick idea of what the whales are doing or the lizards are doing. It just depends on how you want to look at it. So looking at this thing, what we can see is that Bitcoin smashed through the week at $663 million of inflows. It is down a little bit in comparison to what we did see about a month ago, roughly. I mean, there were times where we'd even see, 1 billion, 2 billion of inflows just within 1 week, but $663 million of inflows is not measly whatsoever, especially when you do consider the fact that Bitcoin itself was very sideways last week, right? So countering a lot of that sell pressure, especially a lot of the sell pressure from retail, I definitely do think that this is still very, very bullish. Going down to Ethereum, negative 22.5 million is very interesting, right? It just seems like Ethereum's been getting beat up recently in terms of like overall inflows and outflows, but from a grand scheme of things, it's honestly not doing too bad, and I would say this is still a rather healthy correction. $22 million in the grand scheme of things that the market cap Ethereum's at isn't really a lot of money, right? So it's not going to be what forces its price down, but it is interesting to think that the net sentiment for Ethereum right now is still bearish. It's definitely something to consider, and so because of that, I would surely still be focusing my sights on Bitcoin right now, because of where the lizard people think it's gonna, like, the money's gonna go, and where they think is gonna go up first, that's what's gonna go up first. It's just how it works, and so I definitely am still rather more bullish on Bitcoin than altcoins right now. That's kind of the state of mind that I'm in right now. Going down to multi-asset at a measly 1.3, nothing exciting there. Solana putting in $4 million of inflows, so it's probably a rather inflow and outflow based week. Probably a lot of inflows from some places and a lot of outflows from other places. I don't think this also considers that massive ass sell that FTX just went through, right? And so that's obviously something to consider. If you consider that, which is not necessarily an inflow, but if you think about the fact that the whales or lizards were, I'm gonna keep calling them lizard people until somebody does me something. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned before, if you put that into perspective, right, obviously that's hundreds of millions of dollars of Solana that were bought OTC, then obviously you can start to get, a place of mind to think that, okay, Solana, it did a lot better than just that 4 million would show, right? Which I do also like, because the fact that we only saw 4 million of inflows, and there weren't outflow or net outflow at all, especially in a week in which Solana did basically shut the fuck down. I mean, it's just not doing anything. Most transactions failing is being very annoying. The fact that we're still seeing net inflows during that is pretty exciting to me, but I think this week is going to be super implicative. I think the inflows and outflows that we see from this week are really going to tell the tale of how the whales feel about Solana doing what it's doing right now. So not going to base a ton off of this, but I definitely am bullish at the fact that we were positive, and when you mix in the fact that the FTX sale did go through, I would say that's a rather strong week for Solana. We have something interesting here, though. Not really caring about BNB, not doing too much, but Litecoin putting in a $4.4 million inflow, beating Solana. The first time it's beat Solana in months now, which is interesting because if you do look at Litecoin, we are actually seeing this thing putting in some very bullish structure, right? I mean, this is textbook cup and handle pattern that's forming right here. And so because of this, I actually am going to make a full video the moment I stop recording this one. I'm going to make a full video that'll be up later today talking about Litecoin and why I actually think that is probably going to pop off at some point. It does have bullish structure, and that seems as if its trajectory is going to be upwards of 200 to 250 bucks. And so I am going to be making a full video on this thing, but it does seem to me as if institutions are also picking up on what is going on with Litecoin right now and seem to maybe even be preparing to start to capitalize on what move could be approaching. And so it's definitely interesting. It's something I'm excited about, and I'm paying very close attention to it. And I am glad the whales noticed it as well, because it was on my radar, but they kind of solidified my judgment that I think Litecoin might pop off soon here. So I am going to make a full video about that again later today, so do stay tuned for that. But outside of Litecoin, the only other exciting thing is that short Bitcoin is actually seeing net outflows. We saw the inflows picking up a good bit, but I think what happened is that the whales or the lizard people, they recognized that Bitcoin's price wasn't just going to tank, right? It's not like this little cool down or like this was going to be some like big ass blow off top. That's not what happened. We went into a bit of a cool down phase. And so of course, because of that, it seems as if they kind of are getting out of those short trades while they can, because they know the longer we go sideways or casually downwards, the more we're approaching another big pop to the upside. Seems like they don't want to take those risks. So you mix this in with the fact that Ethereum is also pulling back, with the fact that Bitcoin is still heavily inflowing. I am majorly bullish on Bitcoin still, and I would say that's what I'm the most bullish on right now from a grand scheme of things. Okay, now in terms of how this was broken down, let's actually go look and see how we can break this down across the different companies. So Grayscale itself still being a shitter, knocking down negative 7 $700 million of flows. So they've basically outflowed about 700 million. They have to be coming towards a close here. I think they only have like 3 weeks left, maybe, of funds at the rate in which they're going. And so because of that, obviously, it puts us in a perspective where they will run out soon enough. And once they do, I mean, the 800 million of inflows from iShares, almost 400 million from Fidelity, that alone would be a banger week for Bitcoin. You know, $1.2 billion worth of inflows with not so much negative flow, with a lot less outflows, opens up the door for Bitcoin to be climbing by the thousands of dollars at a time. And so because of that, I am still extremely bullish on what we're seeing. It's just Grayscale's being a piece of shit. Not actually, they're not necessarily doing anything wrong, but you know, I'm feeling a little sparky today. And so because of that, obviously, again, they're kind of causing that downward pressure that's consolidating and forcing Bitcoin's price to be at a standstill rather than opening up the door of opportunity. But like I mentioned before, there's only so much that Grayscale can sell. There's infinite amount, damn near, that you know, these other ones like iShares and Fidelity and 21 shares even, that they can go in and buy. And so I'm just kind of patiently waiting this thing out, and hopefully by the time the halving comes, they're all the way out, if not close to all the way out, so that this buy pressure can continue into the halving. With a catalyst like that, I think it opens up doors for big ass gains. And so because of that, that's kind of the update for last week, just kind of looking at what happened there. Obviously, I am pretty excited about what we're seeing right now. I do love, again, to see the fact that Solana had a pretty solid week, obviously better than Ethereum, which is interesting to say the least. But overall, Bitcoin's still the king of the hill right now, still doing its damn thing. But it does seem as if Litecoin is becoming a contender amongst the altcoins, especially with the structure that we're going to talk about later in today's video. So overall, I just wanted to give you an update on what the whales and the lizard people are doing. And of course, I hope you guys do enjoy them. If you do enjoy them, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I can't wait to see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.